Hello. I want to talk to you about my course in the spring. It's a seminar on comparative constitutional identity, and it's designed for law students as well as for undergraduate and graduate students at the College of Arts and Sciences. The subject matter of the course is constitutional identity. I already taught it last year, and I look forward to teaching it this year and next year at Tel Aviv University, at the law school there, and hopefully this is going to eventually become a book or another kind of more intellectual project. So what do I mean by constitutional identity, and how do we compare constitutional identities? Constitutional identity, if you think about the preamble to the American Constitution, it begins with this immortal phrase, we the people. And so the question is, who are these we the people in Israel? Who are these we the people in the United States? And how does that affect the United States understanding of its constitutional system, and how does it affect the Israeli system of constitutional values, decision-makings, legal norms, etc. So the focus is on the way to do comparative law, actually, is to focus on similarities and then to also explore differences and see what comes out of this melange of aspects. The most important difference between Israel and the United States is the United States has a constitution, a written constitution that is revered. It's a central part of the American legal understanding, whereas Israel is still confused about whether it does or does not have a constitution, what should be in the constitution, and so on and so forth. So it's a very substantial difference between the two systems. The similarity between the two systems is that both courts and both legal systems in Israel and in the United States are based on or rooted in common law concepts and modes of analysis. So the common law is something that comes from England, is one of the aspects that unites Israel and the United States. Of course, Israel also is an immigration society. The United States is an immigration society. Both states think of themselves as the promised land, and both states are quite influenced by biblical narratives, religion, some people say. So there are lots of similarities, and then there are also differences that we will explore as well. I want to start with an example. The example is what we are suffering from today is COVID-19, is the crisis of the pandemic. And let us look at Israel and the United States and see how they are dealing with it. The similarity is that both are suffering from it, and the crisis is deep in both countries. People are sick, people die, and the government is confused or conflicted about how to address the problem. So the pandemic raises the issue of healthcare. That is, does the government owe you healthcare? And what do they owe you in terms of the people, in terms of the action that they should take? And how is this translated into law? So as far as the issue of healthcare is concerned, which is a substantial foundational issue here, in the United States we have the affordable healthcare. We know it's a federal statute, and but the federal healthcare is extremely controversial and presently pending before the United States Supreme Court as unconstitutional. The argument is that it's unconstitutional. In Israel, we also have something similar to the affordable healthcare, and we have a statute that regulates healthcare, and it's not controversial, mostly. It's been there for many years, and before that, there was an understanding that healthcare should be provided by some public processes. And the question is, what is the difference between these two countries? So you see, in the United States, it's extremely controversial. In Israel, it is not controversial. Why is this? That takes us to something very important in Israeli history and also American culture, which is socialism. In the United States, socialism is frowned upon. People who don't even know what socialism is know that they don't like socialism or that they shouldn't like socialism. In Israel, the idea of socialism is not so scary. And Israel did start as a socialist country, which means that the government of Israel from in the beginning and before it became a state considered itself the trustee of the public and in charge of providing for the public welfare. Whereas in the United States, the idea is that the government should stay off the back of the people and let the people make their own decisions about what they want. Translate into healthcare. In the United States, the idea of the individual mandate, the fact that the government will act